Hey everyone! Today's video is about animals that can talk but not in ways you understand. Right now, you're standing on a forest trail, crunching leaves underfoot, sipping that iced coffee that somehow still tastes like cardboard. Everything seems calm, but what you don't realize is that every bush, bird, and beetle is having a full-on group chat, just not in your frequency range. You probably won't survive this if you think sound only means what you can hear. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you really like what I do here. Also, post your location and your local time in the comments. Now, turn off the lights, maybe turn on the fan for some soothing nose, and let's watch today's video. You're walking through what feels like silence, but a moth is screaming in ultrasonic panic because a bat just clocked in for night shift. Somewhere above, a bird sends an infrared-coded threat to a rival suitor. You can't hear it, but if you could, it'd sound like someone swearing in Morse code. And fish, yeah, those chill koi in your cousin's pond. They're low-key throwing shade at each other using seismic pulses. It's not just creepy, it's scientific. In 2002, a team of researchers in Brazil accidentally discovered that tamarin monkeys were using specific frequency ranges to alert others when zookeepers with syringes showed up. Yep, jungle gossip, but instead of Karen at the front desk, it's Stabby Steve's caught a needle again. But here's the kicker: when humans built machines to translate dolphin clicks, they noticed certain repeated patterns. Turns out, dolphins may be calling each other names. Not cutesy nicknames either, think roast battle aliases. If a dolphin's chirp could be subtitled, you'd probably get, "Oh look, Blubber McCloudmets is late again." Meanwhile, in the middle of a remote rainforest, scientists once used high-frequency recorders to catch a bizarre exchange between a family of tree frogs. It sounded like a syncopated drumline, and then suddenly, silence. Hours later, a predator passed through that same clearing, visibly confused. The frogs had gone radio silent, like an amphibian witness protection program. You start to wonder, if they're talking around us all the time, what are they saying about us? Oh, and don't think you're safe indoors. Mice in your walls might be having arguments over Wi-Fi bandwidth frequencies. You laugh, but your router has been mysteriously slow lately, hasn't it? You're in the zoo now, not the regular kind with overpriced hot dogs and sad monkeys in concrete rooms. This one's in your head, and every animal inside is a smooth-talking, manipulative drama queen with a secret agenda. Take parrots, everyone's favorite pirate sidekick, right? Wrong. These guys are basically feathered con artists. There's a famous case from the 1990s London suburb, upper-middle-class family, very we love our pets vibe. Their African grey started repeating something suspicious. Don't tell the wife. Long story short, turns out the husband was cheating, and Polly the narc busted the whole thing wide open. The bird wasn't mimicking, he was reporting. Then there's the lyrebird, nature's most gifted impersonator. In Australia, one was recorded doing perfect renditions of chainsaws, camera shutters, and crying babies. Why? Who knows? Maybe it wanted a record deal. Or maybe it just enjoyed the chaos. Imagine you're a kangaroo, chilling, and suddenly a tree starts crying like an infant. That's therapy for weeks. Back to dolphins for a second. In captivity, they've been caught creating synchronized vocal jokes by mimicking trainers. One in Hawaii even combined sounds from feeding time and medical checkups to fake an injury so it could give fish without doing any tricks. Respect the hustle, but the real kings of the sound hustle, elephants. In Kenya, researchers noticed that elephants had different rumble patterns for different threat lines: people, bees. But then came the wild part: they started mimicking the sounds of trucks. Because trucks meant humans, and humans meant danger. Sound like a lie? Nah. This actually happened during an anti-poaching study in 2010. Imagine a herd of elephants going vroom vroom to warn each other about SUVs. And speaking of deception, let's not forget the infamous case of the beluga whale who learned to mimic human speech so well. A diver at the National Marine Mammal Foundation thought his colleague was calling him underwater. The voice came from the whale. That's not mimicry, that's mockery. You might be the apex predator, but you're not the only one who can throw shade. Out here, in the open-air improv comedy club that is the animal kingdom, the punchlines fly faster than the poop. And just like the poop that ancient Egyptians used for sunscreen, yes, Crocodile poop. Some of these sounds have bizarre second purposes. Some lizards vibrate their chests not to speak but to lie about how big they are. Like that guy on dating apps whose profile pic is just his car. So the next time your cat meows in 3 different tones before 5 a.m., remember, you're not being loved, you're being played. You're in the dark now physically, maybe even emotionally, because this is where the animals answer back. Not with words you understand, but with sound waves so specific, so targeted, that it feels like revenge in audio form. Let's rewind to World War II. Deep in the jungles of Burma, Allied soldiers kept reporting eerie laughter at night to high pitch for human voices, echoing in waves, sometimes moving around them like stereo speakers in the trees. Intelligence dismissed it as monkey noise. Turns out, gibbons were using echolocation-like techniques to confuse, mislead, and flat-out troll invading troops. And we're over here giving them bananas like suckers. Fast forward to 2020, a luxury submarine off the coast of Norway was forced to abort a deep dive when its sonar began pinging back. In rhythm, something down there was returning the exact frequency, with changes. Not a glitch, more like a remix. Some suspect it was a pod of beaked whales. Others say it was just interference. But you know better because you've been listening. Let's take a quick breath to remember that sound travels 5 times faster underwater. So imagine a blue whale, 3 oceans away, screaming shhhh at a nosy cruise ship, and the hull of the ship literally vibrating like it owes someone money. That's not a marine fact, that's a power move. But what happens when animals hear us? In Canada, researchers played EDM through forest speakers to observe deer reactions. The deer left, but the raccoons, they came, they stayed. One even passed out on top of the subwoofer. You think you're throwing a party, but you're hosting a nocturnal rave. And they didn't bring snacks, they're the snacks. There's a town in Russia where villagers swear the local crows warn each other about people with bad vibes. Seriously. The same birds won't squawk at children or old women, but if your aura is off. Screaming banshee mode, scientists say, is based on facial recognition. The locals say it's personal. And the weirdest part, we might be the only species on Earth constantly broadcasting sounds we can't even decode ourselves. Think about it. Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, satellite bursts your entire apartment is a disco ball of noise that's silent to you. But to animals, it's like a rave, a funeral, and a reality show all playing at once. So maybe that look your dog gives you when you play your phone too loud, not judgment, it's pain. Your toaster's leaking nose like a dying banshee, your electric toothbrush screams in bat language, and your smart fridge keeps whispering disappointment in cricket. Now imagine you're an animal in that storm of signals. Do you shut up? Or do you learn to talk back? Now, slow down. The lights are low, and the fan is still humming, the soft whoosh becoming a kind of blanket. You picture the forest again, but this time, you know it's not quiet. There's a rhythm in the silence, a language in the air. Vibrations in the ground beneath your feet. Maybe you won't hear it, maybe you're not meant to, but just because you don't understand the words doesn't mean the conversation isn't happening. So be still, breathe deep, and remember, you're not alone, you've never been alone.